Hi, I can't believe we're at Module 11. And this week, our focus is on teamwork, collaboration, and professional development. What I did this week is there is a slideshow with some voiceover, but I also provided you with some professional development TED Talks and ideas for professional development. But I think one of the a couple of the key factors for this week, and you'll see it in the slideshow, and you'll also see it in the videos that I provided, is that professional development needs to be sustainable and timely. And it also needs to become from the individual needs and the goals of the faculty, of the teachers, of the district. What's the district's vision? It's not what you as a coach might want to do. You might be an expert in growth mindset, but maybe that's not what the district is ready for. Maybe what they really need is to learn about setting up classrooms and classroom management. So it really needs to become from the district, from the school, from the teacher. That brings us to a couple of professional developments that I recently had. And one was taught by Gravity Goldberg. Her focus was teach like yourself. So teacher authenticity. And she talked about worth and engagement and purpose and core beliefs. And she also mentioned about Simon Sinek's Start with the Why and his golden circle. And there's a TED Talk of his work. And if you're not familiar with his work, it's really worth watching his TED Talk, reading some of the articles that are written about the golden circle, and even buying his book, which I have, and also have it as an audio, and I listen to it at times in the car. She also mentioned someone I did not know about, Amy Cuddy, who talks about power poses. She's a social psychologist in Harvard, and she talks about how you can achieve something by your power poses. So she talks about like when you just finished a race, right? So I can relate to that. She talks about stretching your arms out and thinking about your victory and going like this, woo! That just shows how empowered you feel. But then she talks about power poses where people seem to clench themselves or to close themselves off. They're not showing themselves to be as confident as they could be. And that does make a difference in your effective teaching, in your effective coaching. Portray yourself to others. So I also have her TED Talk. She says, we cannot achieve something without feeling personal power. Then Carol Dweck's work, which I am a huge fan of, Growth Mindset and the Power of Yet. And you also read an article about her kind of redefining growth mindset. It's not just about your brain being malleable and saying, I can change. It's about understanding that everybody has the ability to change. Everybody is capable of change. And it doesn't come overnight, but you have to be open-minded. I hope you enjoyed reading that article. So the second part of our professional development that day, so we had Gravity Goldberg, and she spoke about empowerment. And then we had Jamie Almanzone, and he talked about equity and cultural responsibility, and cultural responsive teaching as well. So I did a video from Zaretta am I saying her name right? Sorry, Zaretta Hanen. And Zaretta Hanen basically speaks about equity. She talks about cultures and how children from different cultures, primarily she speaks about African-American children and how they perceive their education and how they might feel perceived, and how we have to empower ourselves as teachers and be and empower the students to be reflective and to think about what choices of words we use, what our body language is saying, and just instilling confidence in our students that they are capable. And that's a little bit about being culturally responsive to your teaching. Also, I put some videos about unconferences and ed talks, not ed talks, ed camps. Sorry, about ed camps. Ed camps basically and unconferences is self-driven, self-motivated. As you'll see in the videos, and I've been able to participate in some, people come with ideas. People come with knowledge. Everybody has a capacity and the agency to share and to teach what they love, what their passion is. So you'll come to this ed conference and you may end up being the facilitator of a conference that people seem to be very interested in. So I encourage you to look at those videos, to look into that kind of professional development, which is very sustainable because it is coming from the root, right? It's a bottom up approach rather than a top down approach. So my professional development last week was definitely top down, right? It was that the faculty, it was the administration saying, we need some work with equity. We need some work with engaging our teachers more and empowering our teachers. But if they had asked us what we might have needed, the day might have gone a little bit differently. Also, we talk about a lot about, and this was in the articles, about reflection and the importance of feedback. We have, I posted in the slides that you'll see, Grant Wiggins, about, there's a little video, and we talk about his effective feedback, more importantly, that it's actionable and timely. We also talk about, and I hope I'm saying his name right, I hope I'm saying his name right, Freitier's conditions of dialogue. And basically the conditions of dialogue being the goal of coaching and empowering teachers, that dialogue and partnership and power. And I love how he talks about the love and humility and the opportunity to have faith in human kindness and hope and critical thinking. It's just so important in order for us to say to ourselves, how's it going? Do you think it's being successful? Or what I hear you saying is, right, provide that goodwill, provide the belief that everybody is capable. When he talks about critical thinking, let's not be the banker, right, who's constantly depositing the money into the receptacles, being the students, right? We want to be the problem solver education. We want there to be open-minded students, open-ended questions, approach everything in a problem-solving way, and leave your ego at the door. Believe that others may be able to change your mind. So I found that article also to be extremely important in terms of our coaching. Then, of course, there's also the 7 elements of coaching, where we, where we talk about what it is to be the most effective coaching, which, of course, we've mentioned before, the reflection, the observing, content, active learning, collaboration, effective practice, coaching, feedback, reflection, and just, again, sustained duration. And in one of the articles, it may have been this one, I love the analogy to, or even we can even say it's the metaphor for our navigation of teaching, like the Big Dipper, how the Big Dipper helps the travelers navigate through the evening. We can give this sustained professional development. We can help navigate our teachers, navigate our students into continuous cycles of learning, but most important, effective cycles of learning. Let's have a great week. Looking forward to your responses.